everyone, my name is Fuzzy, and today we're going to be going over prerequisites for the upcoming series of programming a Discord bot in discord.javascript in v13. Discord.js v13 is the latest release of the DJS API communication tool for building Discord bots. Now, the prerequisites are pretty simple. Most of these are recommendations, one's a requirement, and we're going to go over one tool that I find is very important, something that everyone should definitely follow along with, but if you'd rather not, that's okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our browser, and you're not going to be going to GitHub just yet, but the first place we're going to go is Node.js. It's node.js.org, and I'll leave a link in the description. It's going to be the very first link. And you're going to download the latest version. It may not be 16.8. It could be some other number. Keep that in mind. And with that number just being kind of whatever it is, it's going to detect your system, and it's going to be like, okay, this is what you can download. Just go ahead and download it. Then when you do, it's going to pop up a little window saying if you want to save the file or stop the process in its tracks. It's going to be node-v16.8 or v16 point whatever, or 17 or 18 depending on when you're watching this video, and it's going to have your system operating info .msi. Wow. And you're going to click on the save file. I already have this downloaded, and I'm not going to just kind of go through that again. And you're going to let it download, and once that's downloaded, we'll go over the installation at a later point in time. The next thing we're going to be looking at is Git. Git is not a requirement, but it is highly recommended for source controlling through GitHub, which we will be going over in a little while. You're going to want to download it for Windows, and it's automatically going to start up. Now, I already have this downloaded and installed on my computer, but I will go over the installation directions for Git. So you're going to save the file, not click cancel. Make sure you save it and download it, and we'll go over how to install that later. Next thing we're going to be going over is a code editor. We're going to be looking at Visual Studio Code. I personally prefer Visual Studio because it's just really easy and does its auto-completing. And you're going to download the stable build for Windows. If you want to download a different version, such as 2019, you'll have to look for that yourself. But just download for Windows, just click this button here, and it'll give you a brand new page, and it's also going to start your download, which we will show you here in a second. So the file you're going to be looking at is VS Code user setup x64, or whatever your operating system is, and whatever that number is. Now, I already have that file downloaded, and I already have Visual Studio installed, and we'll go over that later. What we're going to be looking at is a console emulator. The reason why we're going to be looking at a console emulator is because the basic command line client for Windows or for Mac just doesn't look as nice and as sleek. So if I press Windows key R and type in Cmd and then press OK or enter, you're going to get a default command line client such as this. This does not look as good as Cmder in my opinion, and Cmder is definitely a lot better because it can do quite literally the exact same thing. To download Cmder, you can either download the mini, which is 9.8 megabytes, or you can download the full version, which is 117. I downloaded the full version, but you can also download the mini. It doesn't really matter. Next, we're going to be looking at GitHub. For GitHub, you will obviously need an account if you're going to Source Controll. It's not a requirement to Source Controll, and I'll be going over how to create a file without source control, but I will be going over source controlling first, so that way we can just kind of discuss that, and so that way I can show you guys why it's a lot easier to do. Okay, so to install Node.js, you're going to go to your downloads folder, which is simply by entering your file explorer, which is more than likely going to be in your taskbar and your start menu, and you're going to click on downloads. You're going to find your Node. You're going to find your installation package for Node, whatever version you downloaded. It should look something like this. And you're going to double click on it. And you're going to get the window that it's preparing to install. It'll check your system requirements, and then it's going to allow you to install Node.js onto your computer. You're going to click Next, and this is the end user license agreement for Node.js. You're going to accept the terms. If you would like to read through them, feel free to do so. I'm not going to. Then you're going to click Next. You're going to let it create its default folder, and then Next. All of these items are going to automatically do itself, such as the Node.js runtime, the packet manager, the documentation shortcuts, and the pathing. This is so that way Node.js can function as it's supposed to. Then you're going to click Next. And you're going to automatically install the necessary tools, which is Chocolatey. Follow the on-screen prompts for that, because I've already... Actually, I'll be able to go through this. You're going to check that, because you're going to need all of the necessary tools to run Node.js. If you want to do it yourself, you can. They leave a link there. But the very next thing you're going to do is you're going to click Next, and then you're going to click Install. Pretty soon, there's going to be a admin prompt up here. And you're going to approve it. There we go, it's finally showing up. You're going to get an admin prompt for Node.js to make changes. You're going to click Yes, and then it's going to start its installation process. Depending on your computer, this could take a little while, or it probably won't. Depends on your computer. We'll sit here and we'll go through this together. So now that Node has successfully been installed, you're going to click on Finish. And then it's going to bring up your native modules installation. You're going to press any key to continue. And then it's going to bring up Chocolatey stuff. You're going to press any key to continue. And it's going to start its script. It's going to give you a admin request for Windows PowerShell. Go ahead and click Yes. And you're going to follow the on-screen prompts, because I already have Chocolatey installed. Probably. You will be using you will be following on-screen prompts for Chocolatey to just you'll be following all of the on-screen prompts to install Chocolatey. Just watch it and see what it does, and if it errors out, just try googling the error and try seeing what you can do about it. It should automatically install, and it shouldn't have any issues, but that is Chocolatey for you. Now that Chocolatey and Node.js are installed, you're going to double click on your Git installation. It's going to give you an admin prompt first thing, and you're going to go ahead and click Yes. And it's going to bring you a window like this. This is the general public license for Git. And if you want to go ahead and read through this, you can. I'm not going to go over it. You're going to go ahead and click Next, and you're going to see defaults selected. Stick to the defaults. You're going to click Next, 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 and Next. And it's going to do its thing and install Git onto your system. And it's going to use all of the defaults that you had selected. Now that Git has completed doing its thing, you can launch the Git bash or you can view the release notes. I personally uncheck them both and then I click Finish. And that is it for Git. The next thing we're going to be going over is for Cmder. Now, Cmder, literally, you probably downloaded either the mini or the full, whichever one you did. You would open up a designated folder to hold your Cmder file, which if I click on my Cmder shortcut, and let's see if I can find, and if we open up the file location, I threw it in coding, with Cmder.exe being placed in here, under its own Cmder folder, with its bin, config, etc. And there's my Cmder folder. For Visual Studio Code, you'll be going back to your downloads, and you'll be double-clicking on the installation tool, and it's automatically going to install it with no admin request, I think. Let's actually find out. I haven't had to install it in forever, so might as well find out. Okay, so you are going to have a setup wizard. You can read through the terms, and you can accept the agreement. You can create a desk icon if you would like to. I did. And I recommend having all of these. I literally do recommend all of these. Having it open with code and action with your right click. Highly recommend it, and having it as an editor for supported file types. I recommend all of those being checked. And you're going to click Next, and then you're going to click Install. And once it's finished, you can either check or uncheck Visual Studio Code. We're not going to be using it in this episode. Actually, we are. Under your recently added, you should see everything regarding what we just installed. But if I go down, I have Node.js. I have all of my tools here for Visual Studio. I have them all the way down here. I have my Visual Studio installer. I have the code deal here, and I also have the 2019. And then we have our Python stuff installed from Node.js. And that is pretty much it. Git isn't displayed here, or yes it is actually. We do have our Git stuff here. And that is actually all we need to install. Now, presuming that you already do have Discord installed, you're going to go ahead and open up your Discord. And it's obviously not going to look anything like this. I just work with my friends a lot. And I have my own personal folders for everything. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a server. We're going to create our own, and we're going to skip the question. And then you can name the server whatever you want. It can either be the default name, or it can be tutorial bot, or tutorial server, or anything, quite literally. We're going to call this tutorial bot server just to start. And it's going to give you a server like this. I'm automatically going to put this inside of my bot folder so that way I know where it is and can access it easily. And now we are done here. The Discord prerequisites are now done. Now we can close out of these 4 beginning tabs of Node.js, Git, Visual Studio, and Cmder. We're going to leave GitHub open as we are going to be looking at GitHub here in a minute, for those that want to follow source controlling. But we are going to open a new tab, and we are going to look for the Discord developer portal. And you're going to click on the first link. And it's going to bring you directly to the developer portal, and it's going to put you into the documentation. We're going to click on applications, and we're going to create a new application. We're going to name it tutorial bot, or you can name your bot whatever you want to name it. I'm going to start with a beta tutorial bot, so that way I can test my lessons before we actually get started. Now you're going to see exactly what I'm seeing. You're going to go down to bot, and you're going to click add bot, and you're going to do it. This creates the bot account, and this gives you access to your token, and this gives you access to privilege gateways and a permissions calculator. You're going to want to automatically uncheck the public bot section because we are not ready to go public yet, and we can save the changes. This ensures that you, as your own person, can only add the bot to the server that we're about to add it to. This prevents anyone from adding your bot while you're testing things, and it just makes things a little bit easier. For our permissions, we're going to need kick, ban, view channels, send messages, be able to access public and private threads, manage messages, manage threads, embed links, attach files, read message history, mention everyone here and all roles, use external emojis, stickers, and be able to add reactions. These are all of the permissions that we need to have a proper functioning bot for what this tutorial is going to show you. We're going to go ahead and copy this link, open a new tab, and paste the link into the search bar and press enter. And then once it's done, you select a server. We have our tutorial bot server right here. We're going to click that and click on continue. If you don't want the bot to have certain permissions, feel free to uncheck them as you see fit. And then you're going to authorize. You're going to do the CAPTCHA. And then once the CAPTCHA is done, the bot should be added to the server. And we will check Discord to ensure that this happened. Once that's done, we're going to take a look at Discord. And the bot has shown up. It is offline, but that is okay. It's because we haven't created the brain for the bot yet, and we'll do that when we start coding. For our coding, we're going to go over our logger, which is a fancier way to log what the bot's doing, how the console logs work. We're going to install our packages. We're going to get a linter set up, and we are going to get our base files kind of looked at and figured out what we're going to need to do. It's going to be about 3 or 4 things that we're going to be looking at, and we're going to go over commits very first thing. Now that we have the bot here in the server, over here in your browser, you can go ahead and close out of the developer portal and the authorizer on the authorized tab. We'll worry about GitHub here in a minute. I'm going to do the non-source controlling first. Inside of your file explorer, you're going to go to your desktop, and you can either create a new folder, or if you want to have a designated folder for all of your coding, you can create one and then go into that folder by double clicking on it, and you're going to click on create new folder, or Control Shift N, or you can right click new folder. You are able to do that. I'm going to just create a new folder, and I'm going to name this tutorial bot folder. And that is done. Another way you can do that is by using the makedir command, mkdir command, to create the directory. If your directory is going to be more than one word, make sure you put it in quotation marks, so that way it can take all of the arguments. But the next thing we're going to do, since we did manage to get our GitHub system working, I'm going to go ahead and open up my command line client, and I'm going to step into my programming folder. And then I'm going to clear the console so I have a clean slate. We're going to go over to our browser. Now this is where we're going to discuss our source controlling. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new repository. You're not going to have a screen exactly like this, but I suggest still figuring out where the new repository system is, so that way you can make it, and so that way we're here on this screen. Or you can type in this link here and make sure you're logged in with your account. We're going to call this repository tutorial bot, and since I already have that folder, I'm just going to put a 2 in it. And the description can be whatever you want. Now you can choose between either this being a public or private repository. This is not going to affect you in any way, shape, or form. You can add a README, a git ignore, and you can choose a license if you would like to. I will be adding all 3 of these. The git ignore will be later. Then you're going to create the repository. Now that the repository is created and ready to go, you're going to copy the link in the search bar, and then you're going to go to your command line client. And you're going to type git clone and paste the link. And it should create its own folder designated to the bot itself. And it's done. Now that that is done, we have basically done all of our prerequisites for this video. The next video, we're going to go over how to set up the project, start using ESLint, set up our logger, and have our first packages installed that we are going to need for sure. Let me actually try that again. Now that we have cloned the repository, in the next episode we're going to set up our npm package. We're going to install our first packages, which we are going to need to kind of start this entire endeavor. Then we are going to create a ESLint or a linter, and then we're going to create our logger file, which is going to be how we make our console logs fancy. That's what we're going to do for the next episode, and we are done for this episode. I will leave links down in the description below to kind of explain other things as well as links and stuff. Let me try that again. In the description below, there's going to be links to all of the resources that I used for this video, and there's going to be links down there for you guys to support me if you do choose to do so. The best thing you guys can also do is subscribe to the channel, make sure you like the video and leave a comment, so that way this video does get around to others, so that way we can start sharing the knowledge of Discord.js on V13. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.
Built an empire of sound as the bridges were falling.